Neuroethics research can help us understand the social consequences and many of the societal implications of ongoing neuroscience research. Neuroethics can help improve research design. When we think about ethical questions, as we're initially conceptualizing research, we can usually do a better job of anticipating challenges that might come up later on in research.
We think about all of the different ways in which our brain function is so central to our identities and who we are, and that informs our thinking about how, as our understanding of brain function advances and ultimately as our ability to manipulate, change, and extend brain function advances, that we're going to need contributions from all of these different domains to help us think together about what's the most responsible way to proceed with advancing the science and advancing the technology.
Neuroethics has really influenced our work, primarily because we work with human patients, and a lot of our work takes place in the context of patients that volunteer to be part of research studies while they are undergoing procedures for their medical care. So we found that over the years it's really been important to address neuroethics as we think about consenting processes for patients as they participate in these studies, many of whom are in really vulnerable situations, but at the same time, in many cases, would like to also volunteer and participate in research. So for us, neuroethics is about just trying to safeguard subjects that participate in the research, as well as think about the bigger picture of how the research is applied.
Think deeply about how exactly will this technology be used? What are the anticipated use cases? One of the challenges of doing ethics research is that you don't want to wait until the researchers have the question and are faced in the moment with what to do. You want to anticipate those things. And you can't do that unless you collaborate with the scientific community, the ethical community, and really think about, all right, how are we going to use this technology in the real world to cure disease? And I think ethics fosters more creativity on the research side, and ultimately this is to the benefit of cures and better understanding of neurobiology.
Neuroethics plays a huge role in moving findings from basic neuroscience and translating them into clinical practice. My project, funded through BRAIN, is looking at whether it's ethical to use MRI to predict autism spectrum disorder in infants who are at high risk. We're able to bring not only conceptual background, experience from other areas of research like genomics, for example, where they've been doing this for a while, but also empirical expertise to actually collect data, interview with the families to help provide the researchers with guidance.
My brain initiative research is focused on deep brain stimulation for obsessive compulsive disorder. What we're trying to do is develop next generation therapies that involve more than one electrode per side, per hemisphere, but also instead of just stimulating, we're also recording data from the brain and using that to inform treatment. From the lens of a neuroethicist, having them involved on the front end so that we can collect data that tells us about the patient experience, that's more granular than a clinical scale can tell us. So the earlier you can get them involved to help implement those things in your design, and then to walk through the entire research endeavor with them, is extremely valuable.
My brain-funded research is on building a portable head-only MRI scanner that'll be highly mobile so that it can reach populations, underserved populations, where we can study individuals that we haven't been able to study well using functional magnetic resonance imaging, which has been mainly at big medical centers like this. People kind of consider themselves, their brain as who they are, and what we get from their brain can be used to identify them and to find certain features about them that they may not want to have public.
We recently won a Brain Initiative grant in Neuroethics for looking at BCI, brain-computer interfaces, and human agency. You might be able to reorient the direction of some of the devices that are under construction, for instance, by getting input from neuroethicists, and through the neuroethicists maybe input from some of the targeted populations for these devices. So for instance, disabled people, about what they prefer, how they think about the devices, what they would want in a device, what would allow you to be willing to adopt this kind of device.